Hello everyone. Sorry, I only did questions 4 and 8, and I've had a few more questions for questions 6 and 7, so I'll just go through these ones now. Right, question 6. The straight line L, that's just what they've called this line, yeah, L, has equation y equals 2x minus 5. Find the equation of the straight line, which is perpendicular to this line here, and passes through this coordinate. The straight line L has equation y equals 2x minus 5. So if I just think about likening, and I know it's a straight line because first off because it tells us, but also because it can be expressed in the form y equals mx plus c. If I think about it, my gradient, my coefficient of x is 2. Find the equation of a straight line which is perpendicular to it. Well, if my gradient is 2, the reciprocal of that is, because that's the same as like 2 over 1, so the reciprocal would be 1/2. And because it's perpendicular, remember perpendicular gradients are negative the reciprocal of whatever it is. So it's going to be negative 1/2. I know that this straight line, this equation of this straight line, because it's perpendicular, is going to have a gradient of negative 1/2 x, because that's the format in which we put it. But I don't know what the y-intercept is, i.e. c. That's my first mark, by the way, guys, by recognizing that my perpendicular gradient to this is negative 1/2. Whenever a really good question someone asked me, they say, so I get it when there's a 0 there, because then that just is my y-intercept. In the event that that's not 0, then you have to substitute in these two values. This is my x value, negative 2. This is my y value, 3. So I'm going to substitute x equals minus 2 and y equals 3 into this equation above. So my y value, instead of y, I'm going to put 3 times negative 1/2 times x. My x value that I'm given from the coordinate is negative 2 plus c. 3 equals, well, a negative multiplied by a negative is going to give me positive, and 1/2 times 2, 2 lots of 1/2, makes 1 whole, doesn't it? So I've got 1 plus c. Rearrange to make c the subject, or solve to find c, I should say technically. 3 take away 1 is 2, cancel. This is my c. I know that things will be expressed in the form y equals mx plus c, so find the equation of the straight line which is perpendicular. My perpendicular gradient to 2, if the gradient of this is 2, my perpendicular gradient is negative 1/2. X plus my y-intercept, I've worked out by substituting in the coordinates given, is positive 2. And there we are, that's how we do question 6. Right, question 7. The straight line, just check that was perpendicular, yeah. Okay, the straight line has equation 4x plus y equals 7. Well, this is an annoying one because it's not in the form y equals mx plus c this time. So I'm going to have to rearrange it to make y the subject. And then I'll be in a position to see what the gradient of this line is. I'm not sure what the gradient of this line is yet. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, no pun intended on that one a little bit there, guys. So the straight line L has equation 4x plus y equals 7. Find an equation of a straight line which is perpendicular to this line that passes through the coordinate negative 8, 3. Right, first things first, unless this is in the form y equals mx plus c, I don't know what the gradient is. So I'm going to write out the equation of the line, and I'm going to rearrange to make y the subject. How do I get y on its own? Well, if I subtract 4x from this side and subtract 4x from this side, that leaves me, these cancel, I'm left with y equals 7 minus 4x. Now, you can remember that the coefficient of x is my gradient, or if you'd prefer, so it's more familiar, like it's in the form y equals mx plus c, I might write minus 4x plus 7 here. Right, I therefore know the gradient of this line is -4. Find the equation of a straight line which is perpendicular. Negative the reciprocal. So if my gradient is -4, well, the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Therefore, because this is already negative, I'm basically doing negative, is going to give me +1/4. This is my perpendicular gradient. Yeah, negative the reciprocal of negative. Yeah, negative the reciprocal of -4 is +1/4. Right. What do I know? I know lines are in the form y equals mx plus c. And I've just worked out my perpendicular gradient. Y equals 1/4 x. This is annoying because this is not 0. This is not my y-intercept. I need to substitute in my x value, substitute in my y value. I know that x equals -8, y equals +3, and I'm going to substitute them in. So where I see y equals 3 is going to be equal to 1/4 times x. I know x is -8 plus c. 3 equals, well, remember, if I have this here, this is the same as multiplying the numerator. So this will be the same as -8 divided by 4. -8 divided by 4 is -2 plus c. Rearrange to find c. This is -2. Add 2 on both sides. It's going to give me 5 add 2 equals 5 equals c. Now I've worked out my y-intercept. I have all the information I need. Y equals, my perpendicular gradient is 1/4 x. Just worked out my y-intercept is +5. This is our final answer. Please email me if there's any more questions, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time and keep up the hard work.